Hi. In today's lesson, we continue with graphic aids. We have a passage about diabetes. The passage has 7 paragraphs and 3 titles. From the given titles, we know the main topics discussed in this passage. They are about the definition of diabetes, types of diabetes, and pre-diabetes. If you read the passage, you notice certain percentages given for certain age groups or certain types of all diagnosed cases of diabetes. In paragraph 2, for instance, you have the sentence, in adults, type 1 diabetes accounts for approximately 5% of all diagnosed cases of diabetes. In paragraph 3, you have, in adults, type 2 diabetes accounts for about 90% to 95% of all diagnosed cases of diabetes. In paragraph 6, we have such types of diabetes account for 1% to 5% of all diagnosed cases. So if we have a look at the given line graph, it represents, from its title, the number and the percentage of all diagnosed cases concerning the U.S. population over a chronological extension from 1958 to 2015. If we examine the graph, we have 2 lines. The orange line shows the percentage and the blue line shows the number. Then there are 3 axes. One is horizontal that goes across, and the other 2 are vertical that go up and down. There are also 3 labels on these axes showing what each axis represents. The left vertical axis shows the percentages of people with diabetes. The right vertical axis shows the numbers in millions, and the horizontal axis shows the years. Then we should notice the intervals on each axis, the jumps in the given sequences of numbers. On the left vertical axis, the interval is 1. As you see, you are given the percentages as 0, 1, 2 until 8. On the right axis, the interval is 5. We jump from 0 to 5, then to 10, and so on. On the horizontal axis that shows the years, the interval is 3. Under the graph, there is the source as can be seen. CDC's Division of Diabetes Translation, United States Diabetes Surveillance System. So far, we know all the details and components of the graph. We can now make comparisons and draw conclusions. The general trend given reflects fluctuant increases in people with diabetes. We can compare different increases over different periods. As noticed, the increase is sometimes slight as at the beginning and other times noticeable as towards the end. Then we are mostly done with line graphs, where we usually have a group of points merged by a line on horizontal and vertical axes to show the progress of a certain concept. Bar graphs are composed of rectangular bars that appear on 2 axes, horizontal and vertical. Each bar shows how large a certain value is. The bars themselves can be horizontal, going across, as the figure shows, or they may be vertical, going up and down. The different lengths of these bars are used to express different values. Bar graphs are mostly used to compare data between different groups. We will study and examine the second given bar graph. We first read the title to know what the graph is about. As written, it is about rate of new cases of type 1 and type 2 diabetes among people younger than 20 years, by age and ethnicity, and the covered period is 2008 to 2009. The bars have 2 colors. Light blue representing type 1 diabetes as given, and dark red representing type 2 diabetes. The vertical axis on the left is labeled as rate per 100,000 per year. The interval on the axis is 10. The horizontal axis shows 2 age groups. The first group represents the age less than 10 years. In the second group on the right, we have the age between 10 and 19. Each group has 6 bars. Each bar except the first on the left of each group represents a given ethnicity. The abbreviations are written under the graph in full. There is an illustration about the rightmost bar in each group as not being representative for the whole mentioned ethnicity. To relate the graph to the passage, paragraph 4 mentions the risk for developing type 2 diabetes as associated with several factors, and race or ethnicity is one of them. Then now, after we have studied the graph, we can compare between the given ethnicities in each age group. We say, for example, or we can compare the increase or decrease in the same ethnicity considering the two given age groups. For example, the rate of new cases of type 2 diabetes among the Hispanics aged 10 to 19 is a lot higher than among those aged less than 10. So like these examples, you can write many other similar examples comparing other different categories. We now come to the end of the lesson. In the next week, we will continue talking about the other two graphic aids, pie charts and tables. See you then.